It's only taken 15 years, but Toyota has finally unveiled the all-new Toyota HiAce. It brings with it two brand new engines and, most importantly of all, a 5-star ANCAP safety rating across the entire range. Today we're going to see whether this thing is the big step forward the HiAce really needed. Have a look at this interior. It is arguably the biggest step forward here for the HiAce. Gone is that sort of big rod you had between your legs. Instead, you have this great driving position with the hydraulically assisted steering. And this here, the infotainment system, 7 inches. While it doesn't have Apple CarPlay at the moment, it will be upgradable free of charge later this year. It's easy to use, really high quality as well. Head of the driver, a 4.2-inch display. And there's lots of nooks and crannies here to store things, USB ports, and just an all-round air of premiumness, which the old one never had. But what is it like to drive? Let's hit the road and find out. Over 300,000 HiAces have been sold in Australia. It is a remarkable feat, and it's a car that's constantly in the top percentage share of commercial vehicles in Australia. So it was important for Toyota to get this one right, and it has got a cracker here. No longer do I have a giant shaft here next to my feet. You've got a bonnet now as well with front parking sensors, so it is easy to park still. I mean, that was one of the big advantages of the old one. You could see exactly where you were parking. With this, you're still getting that advantage. They've also integrated some cool tech in here as well. 7-inch infotainment screen. We mentioned earlier, you can get Apple CarPlay upgraded free of charge towards the end of the year. But outside of that, you've got cruise control, a great steering wheel, a better steering position as well. You're feeling like you're driving a car here as opposed to a commercial vehicle. And it's arguably the ride that's the best thing about this. You've got 30mm extra travel in the leaf springs at the rear, and that means you can still load it up and have the comfort behind the wheel without any negative effect. HiAce kicks off with 2 engine variants. Standard will be a 3.5 litre petrol V6, makes a little over 200 kilowatts of power, over 300 newton meters of torque, and it's a really punchy engine. It comes standard with a 6-speed manual, but you can get a 6-speed automatic as an option. It shares similarities to the Kluger V6, so it's part of that same family, and it drives really well. You can just get on the throttle, it picks up nicely, it's got a nice note to it as well, and I guess in this van segment, it's one of the few engines out there that really gives you the punch behind the wheel. Even if you are towing or have load in the tray, it will get you moving nice and quickly. The other option is a diesel, which will cost you $3,500 more. Same diesel as the Toyota Hilux, slightly less power at 130 kilowatts, 450 newton meters. Again, 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic. That's going to be your best option if you want fuel efficiency. Efficiency is improved by around 10% across the range, so you are getting really good economy out of this still, while still getting that diesel punch. Part of Toyota's development program included testing here in Australia. Over 40,000 Ks of testing was conducted locally. Now that may not seem like that big of a deal, but it is important because these cars live and breathe in the cities, in the suburbs, and also out on country roads. So it's important to make sure this car can be validated locally and still drives and handles like it should. It is a huge departure from the previous HiAce. Even things like getting in and out is so much easier in the new version of the HiAce. Gone is that sort of awkward step in that you have to do. You're also getting more cargo capacity. You're getting doors on either side, but the thing that's critically missing here is barn doors. That's arguably going to be one of the features that punters are going to be wanting the most, because even though you can fit a pallet inside, it's going to be hard to load it in with the door opening at the back upwards. So Toyota says it is working on a barn door option, but at this stage you've got no option available to you if a barn door is going to be a deal breaker. On the ride and handling front, Toyota's really stepped up the game in terms of comfort. You can go over all sorts of bumps, potholes, and all the type of things that you're going to be thrown at in the CBD, and this soaks it up beautifully. The steering, although it is still hydraulic, it feels nice in the hands. It's nice and light as well. The feature though that I love the most, and you're probably going to find most convenient, especially if you live in Victoria, is the speed sign recognition. So right here in the display, it will pick up speed signs that you pass, and then it will tell you what that speed is. So if you have missed one, you're not going to end up with a speeding fine, because it's going to keep tabs of which speed zone you're in right in front of you. Accessories are really important, and Toyota has developed a whole lot of genuine accessories that fit the HiAce, including one feature that I love. So if you are in and out of low clearance car parks, you can take advantage of a ladder loading system that allows you to rig the ladder to the ceiling. That means you won't have to put it on the roof and compromise your driving height. It's really easy to use, it's spring loaded, and it means that you won't be getting wet as you load the ladder in and out. So really clever feature there, and it's part of a wider range of accessories that have been developed right here in Australia for HiAce. Now, those of you may be wondering, given this shares an engine with Prado and Hilux, both of those cars have had some issues with diesel particulate filters. Toyota's been on top of this. They've installed a stop-start switch here for fuel economy, but also a manual DPF burn switch. So that means that the diesel particulate filter can be activated for a burn even if you're not planning on doing any highway driving, which is what's recommended for generally burning that particulate matter that's still left in there. And Toyota reckons that solves the issue that some customers were having with Hilux and Prado. Let's talk about servicing. That's an important part to a trade vehicle because every time you get it serviced, your work vehicle is off the road. Unfortunately, Toyota demands servicing for both petrol and diesel variants of every 6 months. It's a bit of a pain given a lot of vans in this segment offer 12-month service intervals, but on the upshot, servicing is pretty cheap, $180 for the petrol V6 and $240 every 6 months for the diesel. So it is okay, but that 6-month service interval, I just don't get why Toyota do that kind of thing. So that's been your first look at the all-new Toyota HiAce. It is a massive, massive step forward from the previous generation, and you'd hope so given the last one was 15 years old. To read more about the all-new Toyota HiAce, head to caradvice.com and keep your eye on the site for future comparisons with this. We think it's going to rate really well against the competitors in this segment.